There are moments in an artist's career that you can measure with numbers. Streams, charts, awards, ticket sales. And then there are moments you can literally see. Because sometimes, one photograph can tell you more about an artist's growth than 1,000 statistics ever could. And right now, photos circulating from SB19's Summer Sonic Tokyo performance are giving fans something incredibly rare. A visual before and after of what happened around the venue after SB19 took the stage. And if you look closely, this is not simply a story about a crowded festival. This is a story about how far SB19 has come. Because remember where this group started. SB19 did not come out of an established global music powerhouse. They were not handed an international audience. They did not begin their journey with the automatic support of one of the biggest music industries in the world. They had to build everything, piece by piece, song by song, performance by performance, and most importantly, country by country. For years, the biggest question surrounding SB19 was whether a Filipino group could genuinely break beyond the Philippines and become relevant on international stages. Not just appear overseas, not just perform for Filipino fans living abroad, but actually become part of the international conversation. And Summer Sonic Tokyo is significant because this is exactly the kind of environment where that question gets tested. Summer Sonic is not a small fan gathering created specifically for SB19. It is a major music festival environment where different artists, different audiences, and different musical cultures collide. So when SB19 walked onto that stage, they were stepping into an ecosystem much bigger than their own fandom. And that is what makes these images so interesting. One of the photos being circulated shows the massive crowd during SB19's set. Another image compares the venue after their performance, with a dramatically different scene as people move away from the area. And then there is the reaction from a fan account that basically captures the surprise. The person explained that they initially thought the crowd was waiting for the next performer, only to realize that this was how the venue looked after SB19 had performed. Think about that for a second. That reaction matters, because it represents something bigger than one person being impressed. It shows the kind of visual impact that SB19's presence can create in a completely different market. And this is where we need to understand what makes this moment significant. A crowd does not automatically mean every person there became an SB19 fan. We should not pretend that a photograph can tell us exactly how many people came specifically for SB19. But what the images can show is the scale of attention surrounding their set. And that distinction is important, because SB19 are no longer simply trying to prove that Filipinos can perform internationally. They are reaching a point where the international stage itself becomes part of their story. That is a completely different level. Think about the journey. There was a time when international recognition for Filipino artists often meant performing primarily for overseas Filipinos. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But SB19 have been pushing beyond that boundary. They have been entering spaces where the audience is much more mixed. They have been appearing in markets where they cannot assume that everyone already knows their songs. And that creates a much harder challenge. Because when you enter a new market, your reputation does not automatically travel with you. You have to earn attention again. You have to perform. You have to connect. You have to make people stop and say, "Wait, who are they?" And that is exactly why moments like Summer Sonic matter. Because the real victory is not simply standing on an international stage. The real victory is making people pay attention once you get there. And SB19 have been doing something that very few Filipino acts have managed to do at this scale. They are turning international appearances into opportunities to introduce P-pop to audiences who may have had little reason to discover it before. That is the bigger story. Because when SB19 performs in Japan, the conversation is not only about SB19 anymore. It becomes a conversation about Filipino music, about P-pop, about what Filipino artists can actually do on global stages. And that is why these before and after images are so powerful for Aten. They provide a visual representation of a journey that has taken years. The group that once had to fight to convince people that Filipino artists could compete internationally is now performing at one of Japan's major music festivals. And people are looking at the crowd. People are sharing photographs. People are comparing what the venue looked like before, during, and after their set. That is progress you can actually see. But perhaps the most important part is this. SB19's journey is nowhere near finished. Summer Sonic should not be treated as the final destination. It is another checkpoint, another piece of evidence that the ceiling for this group keeps moving higher. And that is what makes their story so fascinating. Because 5 artists from the Philippines are continuing to walk into rooms that were never guaranteed to be waiting for them. They are entering markets that were once considered difficult for Filipino artists to penetrate. They are performing beside international acts. They are building recognition. And slowly, the question is changing. It is no longer simply, can SB19 make it internationally? The question is becoming, how far can SB19 actually take this? And that is a completely different question. Because once an artist proves that they belong on the international stage, the conversation shifts from possibility to scale. How many countries? How many festivals? How many new listeners? How many collaborations? How many people discover Filipino music because they discovered SB19? That is the potential impact. And maybe that is why these Summer Sonic photos feel so satisfying. They are not just pictures of a crowd. They are a snapshot of a much longer journey. From a Filipino group trying to prove itself, to a global act standing in front of an international festival audience. From having to explain what P-pop is, to becoming one of the artists helping define what P-pop can look like internationally. And from wondering whether the world would listen, to actually giving the world a reason to stop and watch. So the next time someone asks whether SB19's international journey is really making a difference, you do not necessarily need to show them a chart. Sometimes, just show them the pictures. Look at the stage. Look at the crowd. Look at the reactions. And then remember where SB19 started. Because this is bigger than one performance. This is the visible result of years of persistence, growth, and refusing to accept that Filipino artists have to stay within a certain boundary. SB19 did not simply travel to Japan. They brought P-pop with them. And if these images are giving us even a glimpse of what their international future could look like, then we may only be looking at the beginning. Because the most exciting part of SB19's story may not be how far they have already come. It may be how much further they can still go.